Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the GioMoShow, your home for all Golden Grizzlies basketball. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to help support the show on our way to the Horizon League tournament as we're covering Oakland basketball all season long. And we're pretty much halfway through the season at this point, so a subscription is not too late, and nor is a follow. We just got 300 followers on Instagram as well, which is awesome. I really appreciate you guys sticking around to the show, and especially with the reels, the reels that I've been posting, preview and post game. Halftime's a bit weird because it has such a short lifespan, but still, I really appreciate you guys watching, sharing, all the things you do to grow the show. I'm going to make this one a little bit quick. Also, you can follow the show at the GioMoShow on Instagram if you want to be the 301st follower. And on Twitter, we got 400 as well. I mean, that one's not necessarily specifically the show, but that one's mine. I just use it kind of for the show. But still, 400 followers on Twitter is also a huge appreciation to all of you who always interact and share the posts. Like all that stuff is awesome. But anyway, intros aside, I just wanted to. I kind of gave all I had as far as analysis and stuff, or kind of a brain dump when I recorded last night at the Horizon Round Table with Jim Sorrow. Gave my thoughts on basically the entire week of the Horizon League. So this episode of the GioMoShow specifically for Oakland, I'm going to make it a little bit brief, a little bit more casual, just kind of off the top of my head. I don't have the box scores or anything in front of me, but I can't leave you guys without an episode after two home games at the arena, two of them that were in kind of, similar yet opposite games. Were the first one against Cleveland State on Friday, which was just a buzzsaw of a struggling team. And then the game on Sunday was in a top of the league team buzzsawing the other top of the league team in us. So I can't not give you guys something for this, but we'll just get quickly into the Cleveland State game where it was just a super ugly start, super slow. Neither team got to 20 points pretty much until what felt like halfway through the first half. It was just such a ugly and slow game. But luckily Zaire Wells was there in order to make, it was a couple of dunks in the first half that kind of lit up a very dull arena, not attendance-wise, but just energy-wise. There wasn't any scoring going on. But yet he was able to get the building going, and then that's when that kind of gained a little bit of traction as the game went on. Oakland would eventually get to, it was like 97-74. There were some places that put it at 72 points for Cleveland State, but I'm pretty sure the final was 74. Again, I don't have the box score with me, but off the top of my head, that was the case. But Oakland would eventually, their offense would soar and get back into the rhythm of things. Cleveland State's never really did. A lot of it was because the three-point shooting that they've relied on this season was just not there, like, at all. They were sub 20% from deep, which was just shocking because that was really the only key that would have allowed them to beat this Oakland team, especially at home. They give up a lot of three-pointers, and that's historic. That happens all the time at the arena. It's called a shooter's gym for a reason, but it's just, it was not in that night. Oakland was no hot shot from three either, but the way that they were able to eliminate that or Cleveland State just wasn't able to make their shots. I mean, it was a little bit of both for them because you kind of need both to happen to shoot that poorly from deep. But they were just chucking up a ton of shots. They were just praying that they were going in, but they never did. And Oakland would then cruise to an exciting win, 97-74, to set up. Now we're going to get into it. To set up the big matchup on national TV against the top team in the league in Wright State, who beat them before. I feel like I've been saying it all week long as far as the build-up to this game, and it was worthy build-up. It was built up to be the game that it should have been. It just wasn't that game. It was just Wright State putting it to us. It was Oakland kind of, Campy gave a little bit of insight to it. In his opinion, they were just too excited for it. There was too much hype going into this game, and there was too much put into it to where they got too excited, and they weren't able to make easy shots. And at the beginning of the game, meanwhile, Wright State, one of the top scoring teams in the league, despite their number one defensive status too, they're the top field goal percentage team in the league, and they made their first four shots. So right away, Oakland's behind the eight ball, and nothing was working to get it going. Whether it was just like nothing going on inside, I mean, we weren't chucking up a ton of threes up until later in the game when we kind of needed them to catch up, or needed to make them in order to catch up. But it was just nothing going right. Meanwhile, Wright State is going, and gone. 24 points was their lead in the first half. Exactly what they had in the first game against Oakland, a 24-point first half lead. It would eventually grow to 27 later on in the game. And if it wasn't for it may have been more than this, but when I checked it at its biggest, a 16-2 run for Oakland, that's when I was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. But even then, you make a run like that, you're still down 10. Oakland maybe got within 9 points for like a second. It was just such a shocking way to lose a game at home. And, I want to stick to the game right now because obviously I'm going to get into like the crowd and the attendance and that kind of stuff later. But for what Oakland was, and no, they are not a defensive team, but what they are and what they're able to do is to either keep up with high-scoring teams, to start things off, or at least to keep it manageable to where the run doesn't have to be as big. They either have to do that or they have to get out to a lead early and really push the pace to where the other team, they don't run like that. They're playing into Oakland's speed. Not the case at all in this game. Oakland played as slow as Wright State wanted them to, and that really disrupted things. And the only way Oakland was able to make that run to get the crowd excited was by playing fast. It just seems like they just decided to play fast. And that's maybe where my basketball knowledge is a little bit gapped as to where, aren't you in charge of the pace? If you get the ball, go fast. I know the situation doesn't always call for that, but it, just not being able to play your game in your house is that was crucial for Oakland. That was critical, and it kind of cost them the game. A lot of things cost them the game, but that included. And I guess a few highlight players. We'll give 2 highlight players. Brody Robinson did have 35 points, and he was a big part of that run. And it looked like a moment where he was putting the team on his back. Most likely because their star player, Isaac Garrett, fouled out really early. He played 17-ish minutes, and he fouled out. He had a technical foul on his third one, where he pulled the leg of Andrea Holden, who dunked it and hung on the basket. I will say, he hung there. He gave it a kind of an extra second. And then when IG was going for the ball, he tugged his leg. An accident, on purpose, whatever. He got a tech. Really early in the game, too. And that put him at 3 fouls. His first 2 fouls were in the first 2 minutes. Can't be kind of ripped into him, too. Not viciously, but, Campy doesn't necessarily rip into his players. But given his usual press conferences, that was pretty much ripping into him. Where his first 2 fouls were in 3 minutes of the game. Third foul comes, it's a tech, and he's basically benched. He has to be. You can't play him like that with 3 fouls. And you basically take away your star player. It's exactly what Wright State wanted against the reigning Horizon League Player of the Week, and it's also exactly what happened the last time they played at Wright State. IG fouled out in that game too. So you can't have your best player. You can't have your best player. I'll say it. Whatever. There's a lot of best players, but you can't have him gone for 2 games against the top team in the league. Now you don't get it back until the tournament, which at this rate we're probably going to see them in the tournament. But you have to play. That was very frustrating to see in that game. So Brody Robinson had to put the team on his back to score 35 points to even make it kind of close because and with IG being out. On the Wright State side of things, you guys, if you're one of the 300 followers on Instagram and growing, then you guys saw my thoughts on Solomon Callahan from Wright State, the surprise Oakland killer. He wasn't. This was not on our radar the first time we played him. But the first time we played him in Wright State, he was 6 of 7 from 3. He killed us that first time. So then he comes into the arena, and leading up to the game, I'm talking to Wright State people, and some of them were cordial, Some of them are not, and whatever. That's sports Twitter for you. But I was having some conversations, and I was saying, like, listen, like, hey, I'm excited for this game. So was that Wright State person account, whatever. And we were both kind of agreeing. It's like, I don't know if Callahan's going to do that again. Like, that was a miracle game, going 6 of 7 from 3. Bro basically did it again. He went 6 of 9 from 3. And he had 27 points. He was the Wright State's high scorer. He got the radio interview afterwards. So it was such a shockingly similar game to when we played at their place. With a 24-point first half lead, IG fouling out, Callahan making 6 threes. What else could possibly be the same in these games? It was just so shocking. And now we'll get into the home court side of things, which kind of casts us into a much more sadder and depressing light when all of this happens on national TV in front of a packed house. Oakland laying an egg in front of everybody. That made it feel so much worse because especially of Campy's comments earlier in the season. And remember, I mean, like the one against Purdue Fort Wayne, that's when it really blew up. He said the exact same thing at the Defiance game, the first home game of the season, where he was disappointed with the student section. He just wasn't as, colorfully languaged as the one he said against Purdue Fort Wayne, where the quote is, "Our student section is terrible." Flat out. I mean, that's the one that got the headline, the graphic, the him scowling with the giant text, "Our student section is terrible." Like that, it got picked up like that. And for all of the effort that was put into getting that place packed, whether it was bringing the swim team on and the baseball team, and so like whatever athletic program was there was also a ton of Grizz Gang people there as fans. You know, whether there was some frats there or whatever organizations made that student section attendance fabulous. They had T-shirts given out to the first 200 fans. They had white Buffalo Wild Wings sponsored towels to wave during the game. Every high school around the state was called to come and watch the game. My Dakota Cougars were in attendance too. Sorry I didn't get to catch you guys actually at the game, but they did everything they could to fill that place, and it worked. That side of the deal was met. And as far as the athletic department goes, as far as a student section, as far as a campus participation is concerned, that's all you can do is show up. It's just, it was heartbreaking to see the team not meet the effort that the department went through to fill that place. And overall, it shouldn't take a miracle effort to fill a D1 college basketball arena that only sits 4,000. Like that is a larger overarching concept for this, but they still did. They still tried very hard, and they did, and it worked. And you just hope that the performance was not something that will turn them away now in a couple of weeks when they play at home next. They're on the road for a little bit. They're going to Wisconsin. And you just hope that what they saw in those few moments of super high energy and volume, I hope that brings them back. I hope that's what they walk away remembering. But the play on the court makes me remember that we laid an egg in front of all of them. Campy and the players were just crushed about that at the post-game press conference. It felt like a funeral in there. Seriously, you could hear a pin drop on their way in, and Brody and Baru made a point to thank the department, to thank the Grizz Gang for showing up in that game, and that was before Campy really led his thanks to that. And he didn't talk about that until after the players left, but that kind of came out of them naturally, which was just awesome to see. But we didn't get it done for them. It was so depressing, man. And you just feel for them. You feel for Campy especially, because he acknowledged that the fact that he was crying about nobody showing up, and then when they don't show up, he really took that to heart. I mean, he really was hurt by that, and everybody in that room was too. Whether it was me, whether it was Neil Rule or WXOU or Griffin Beers, Tony Paul was there. We were sitting next to him at the table. Like everybody there was sad as well. And it just felt like a funeral, man. It was awful. So that now puts Oakland at 5-2 in conference. Now they're tied with Green Bay, and I think Northern Kentucky, they may be a half game behind, but they're now a little bit separated from Wright State as far as winning the regular season, but there is still a ton more games to go. That's the message that Campy wants to emphasize, is the hurdles metaphor that he always talks about, where, okay, we knocked down 2 hurdles. First place team in the Horizon League, since they expanded it to 20 games, has lost pretty much 5 games. So it's not over. But boy, does it feel over. It felt over when that night was over. But there's still a lot to play, and there's still a lot of ground to cover. 18-2 is still possible, technically. Like that's the kind of perspective I tried to keep with it. Was, I guess we got to go 18-2. It's like it's fine. We could still win the league. You know, you just got a bad tiebreaker against a team that is now the seeming favorite for it, but it's still possible. And you just hope that you can perform at home like we did against Purdue Fort Wayne instead of that of Wright State. We'll see what happens. They got those Wisconsin games coming up. They got Milwaukee on Thursday. They got Green Bay, I believe, on Sunday. Green Bay's been doing really good too. If you guys want to hear more about Green Bay specifically, then check out the Horizon Roundtable where I was on with Jim Sorrow. Jim Sorrow is in the Green Bay area. That's his niche, and we talked a lot about them, especially their uprising from last year and how, you know, they're really rolling so far. And it's great to see from a team that was, you know, a laughing stock earlier, you know, rags to riches. Detroit Mercy, kind of a similar style too. We talked about that on the show as well. So be sure to check out the Horizon Roundtable. Donate to them because they have a lot of great people working for them, covering the Horizon League. And it's not something that is easy to do. And a donation can help pay some of our writers, or I don't work for them, their writers, for, you know, the great work that they do. So we'll leave that in the description below. All that information you can find at horizonroundtable.com. We'll talk to Griffin Beers pretty soon on the show too. We tried to in the arena, but it's just that they had a student-athlete event going on right after the game, so it was too loud in there to record in the arena, and there was really no place to record in the concourse or anything. So keep an eye out for Griffin Beers coming on to the GioMoShow, and, you know, also a Horizon Roundtable, our Oakland beat writer for that. Their Oakland beat writer. I don't work for them. I keep saying it, but they feel like family to me. But either way. So that wraps up the GioMoShow here, impromptu, but we still made it to 18 minutes long. So thank you guys for watching. If you're all the way to the end here, subscribe to the GioMoShow right here on YouTube. Rate, review, subscribe on all audio platforms, and we'll be back for the Wisconsin episode right here on the GioMoShow, your home for Golden Grizzlies basketball.